Have you ever wondered why one particular person keeps haunting your thoughts, no matter how hard you try to forget them? What if I told you that the reason isn't about love, but something much deeper hidden in plain sight? And what if ancient Zen wisdom could offer not only the answer, but a way out? Let's dive into the heart of this mystery. There's a torment that many of us know all too well. Someone keeps showing up in your mind over and over again. It could be an ex who still visits your dreams, even years after you've parted ways. It might be a co-worker whose offhand comment echoes in your head long after the day is done. Or maybe it's the face of someone who hurt you, appearing out of nowhere, uninvited in the quietest moments. Why do these people seem to take up permanent residence in our mental space? Zen Buddhism, with its centuries-old teachings, offers a profound explanation, one that feels surprisingly relevant in our modern lives. These aren't just philosophical ideas, they're practical insights that can help us break free from this invisible grip. In this video, I'm going to reveal 7 clear signs that explain why a certain person stays lodged in your mind, and more importantly, how Buddhist wisdom can guide you to finally let go. Make sure to listen closely to sign number 7. It's the most powerful one, and it could completely shift how you perceive those lingering thoughts. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Buddhism Seeds so you never miss upcoming videos on awakening, inner peace, and spiritual clarity. Like, share, and leave a comment if this resonates with you. Now let's begin. Reason number 1: attachment disguised as love. When you find yourself constantly thinking about someone, it's easy to believe it's because you love them deeply or miss them terribly. But according to Zen teachings, what we often mistake for love is actually attachment in disguise. True love, the kind spoken of in Buddhism, brings peace. It's steady, accepting, and calm. Attachment, on the other hand, stirs the waters. It breeds anxiety, jealousy, longing. If your thoughts about this person make you restless or uneasy, if you're compulsively checking their social media or feeling a desperate pull toward them, then what you're feeling isn't love. It's attachment. The Buddha clearly taught that attachment is the root of suffering, and nowhere is this more evident than in our relationships. You keep thinking about this person not because of some pure emotion, but because you've unconsciously tied your self-worth, your identity, or your future happiness to them. That's a heavy burden for anyone to carry, and your mind responds with a storm of recurring thoughts. Next time you notice their face in your mind, pause. Is there a subtle current of need, of fear? Do you fear losing them? Do you crave their approval? Or do you ache for what used to be? If so, you're not experiencing peaceful love. You're swimming in the turbulent waters of attachment. The Zen masters had a vivid metaphor for this. Holding on to attachment is like gripping a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else. You're the one who gets burned. So if their presence in your mind feels more scorching than soothing, it's time to reconsider. Are you holding on to love or to pain? According to Buddhist wisdom, the first step toward liberation is this exact recognition. By seeing clearly what is truly happening within us, we open the door to release. Previously, we uncovered how attachment, often mistaken for love, can trap us in recurring thoughts about someone. But what if there's something even deeper, a hidden thread from the past that binds you to them? Let's now unravel the second reason: unresolved karma. In Buddhist philosophy, karma isn't some cosmic punishment or divine judgment. Instead, it's about completion, the finishing of emotional business that remains open-ended. When someone keeps appearing in your mind, uninvited and unshakable, it often signals an unfinished karmic connection between you and that person. Think about it. Maybe they hurt you, and you never truly processed the pain. You buried it, hoping time would erase it, but the wound stayed open beneath the surface. Or perhaps you were the one who hurt them. And though life moved on, a quiet guilt lingers in your subconscious, unresolved and heavy. Sometimes it's not even about harm. That person may represent a lesson, a turning point in your life, a part of your growth that's still waiting for you to understand it. Until that insight fully integrates into your being, the karmic link remains active. Your thoughts keep returning, like waves drawn toward a gravitational pull. Buddhism teaches that nothing is random. Each person who enters our life does so with meaning, especially those who linger in our thoughts. They are often our greatest teachers, though not in ways we'd ever wish for. So if their presence in your mind refuses to fade, ask yourself gently, what lesson am I resisting? What emotion have I left unprocessed? What truth about myself am I avoiding? Sometimes the thought itself is not the problem. It's a signpost. It points toward healing, toward a truth waiting to be seen. Now let's move on to reason number 3, projection of the shadow self. Zen Buddhism, much like Jungian psychology, understands that we each carry a shadow, those hidden parts of ourselves we don't want to face, the ones we reject, deny, or quietly suppress. Interestingly, the people who dominate your thoughts may not be staying there because of who they are, but because of what they reflect back to you. Maybe it's someone's bold confidence that stirs your mind. You can't stop thinking about it. But why? Perhaps it's because you've buried your own confidence deep within, and now you're projecting it onto them. Or maybe their flaws irritate you, not because they're truly offensive, but because they mirror something within you that you haven't come to terms with. Your mind is clever. It turns this person into a screen, and onto that screen, it plays the silent film of your unconscious self. That's why the Buddhist practice of self-inquiry is so essential. Ask yourself, what quality in this person unsettles me most? What trait am I fixated on, and why? Often, the answer leads you back to a forgotten part of yourself, a quality that wants to be seen, accepted, reintegrated. The Buddha taught that others are mirrors. They reflect our inner landscape, especially the parts we've disowned. Once you reclaim these projections, the intensity of that person's presence in your mind naturally begins to fade. Now, let's explore the 4th reason, one that's subtle yet incredibly powerful: attachment to outcome. Buddhist teachings emphasize that suffering arises when we cling tightly to specific outcomes instead of embracing things as they are. So, when someone dominates your thoughts, pause and reflect. Are you hoping for a particular ending with them? A romantic reunion? An apology? Recognition? Closure? This mental fixation is like a loop, a tape playing over and over in your mind, replaying imagined scenes and what-ifs that lead to your desired ending. But here's the thing. Zen encourages us to cultivate a beginner's mind, an open mind free from assumptions, one that greets each moment without carrying the baggage of expectation. And yet, how often do we carry the weight of our hopes into every memory of them? Previously, we uncovered how clinging to specific outcomes can trap us in endless loops of expectation. Now, we step deeper into the habits of the mind itself. Often, we're not living in the present moment, but inside a storyline, one we've written in our minds over and over again. Our thoughts swirl around imagined endings, fantasized reunions, or perfect resolutions. If you find yourself returning to the same mental scenario every time you think of this person, that's a sign. You've become entangled in a mental loop constructed by your own expectations. In Buddhism, there's a practice of gently letting go of attachment to outcomes by embracing what is, however messy or uncomfortable that may feel. This doesn't mean giving up hope or suppressing your emotions. It means returning to reality, grounding yourself in the present moment, and releasing your grip on how things should be. If these teachings are resonating with you, please consider supporting Buddhism Seeds. A quick subscribe, a simple like, or even sharing this video with someone who may benefit. It all helps us continue spreading content that nourishes inner peace and spiritual clarity. Your presence here means a lot. Now, let's move on to reason number 5, identification with thoughts. One of Buddhism's most profound teachings is this: you are not your thoughts. But when someone takes up constant space in your mind, it's easy to forget this truth. Instead of seeing thoughts as passing clouds drifting across the sky, you start clinging to them. Every thought about this person begins to feel true, urgent, and deeply meaningful. You mistake the thought for reality. And here's the danger. The more you identify with these thoughts, the more often they arise. And the more often they arise, the more real and important they seem. This is the trap. Buddhist meditation helps break this cycle by inviting us to step back, to observe thoughts without becoming them. When you think, "I miss them," pause and gently reframe it. There is a thought about missing them. It may sound simple, but this small shift creates space. Space brings clarity, and clarity weakens the thought's emotional grip. Zen masters describe this awareness beautifully. Learn to watch the river of thoughts without falling in and being carried away by the current. This is the practice. Not pushing the river away, not damming it up, but simply sitting beside it, watching. Reason number 6, the illusion of permanence. Buddhism teaches a central truth: everything is impermanent. Thoughts, emotions, people, pain, pleasure, none of it lasts forever. And yet, when someone occupies your thoughts endlessly, it can feel like the connection is eternal, unshakable. You may believe the sadness will never end, that the pain will never soften, that the longing will never fade. But this is an illusion. By believing that these mental states are fixed and unchanging, you give them more power than they truly hold. You unknowingly lock yourself into a story of forever, when in reality, everything is flowing, moving, changing. Even the most intense emotions are subject to the same law of impermanence. The pain of betrayal, the ache of nostalgia, the longing for closure, none of these states will remain untouched by time. As the Zen saying reminds us, this too will change. Not as a cliché, but as an eternal truth. When you genuinely internalize this, you begin to notice the grip weakens, the thoughts soften, and the space within you opens. Now we arrive at the 7th and perhaps most profound reason. The idea that some people enter your life not by chance, but by spiritual design. Previously, we explored how the illusion of permanence keeps certain people lodged in our thoughts. Now, we arrive at a deeper, more spiritual layer. What if their presence isn't a problem, but a purpose? Sometimes, when someone refuses to leave your mind, despite time passing, despite distance growing, it's more than just memory or emotion. It could be a sign of something greater, a spiritual assignment not yet fulfilled. According to Buddhist wisdom, certain souls are not randomly encountered. We've agreed, before this lifetime even began, to meet them, to learn from them, and to grow with them. And when that growth remains incomplete, the connection echoes inside us like a bell that hasn't finished ringing. This reason goes beyond psychology. It asks you to shift your perspective entirely. What if this person's constant presence in your mind is not something to get rid of, but something to awaken you? What if their role in your inner world is essential, not incidental, to your spiritual development? In Buddhism, the relationships that challenge us the most are often the ones that carry the deepest teachings. They act as catalysts, pushing us into new layers of awareness, compassion, and truth. So instead of asking, "How can I stop thinking about them?" ask, "What are these thoughts trying to teach me? What awakening are they pointing toward?" That simple shift in questioning can transform suffering into insight, resistance into revelation. Perhaps they remain in your thoughts, not because something is wrong, but because something important is still unfolding. In Buddhism, this marks a transition from seeing relationships as sources of pleasure or pain to recognizing them as vehicles for awakening. When you embrace this, even persistent thoughts become part of the path. Now let's talk about the Buddhist path to liberation from these mental loops. The practice is subtle, yet powerful. Step 1. Practice mindful observation. When a thought about this person arises, don't fight it. Don't scold yourself or suppress it. Instead, simply observe. Watch the thought as you would a leaf floating down a gentle stream, passing, not permanent. According to Zen tradition, what you resist persists. What you observe with detachment transforms. You don't need to fix the thought, just see it clearly without getting tangled in its story. Step 2. Investigate with compassion. Ask yourself softly, what attachment, what unfinished lesson is keeping this person alive in my mind? Be kind in your inquiry. Don't approach it with judgment or frustration. Buddhism reminds us, wisdom doesn't arise from self-criticism. It comes from gentle curiosity. And when you discover the answer, when you touch the root, don't rush to eliminate it. Just understand it with compassion. That very awareness is the beginning of transformation. Step 3. Let go through acceptance. The Buddha taught that letting go is not a forceful act. It's not something we do. It's something that happens when we stop clinging. So don't try to push this person out of your mind. Instead, allow their image to be there, but loosen your grip on the story you've wrapped around them. Zen speaks of open hands, a beautiful image. You can hold the thought gently, without clutching it. Step 4. Redirect with intention. Finally, use the thought as a signal, not a trap. When they come to mind, let that moment become your bell of mindfulness, a gentle reminder to return to the present. Rather than letting the thoughts spiral, let it anchor you in awareness. Over time, even the presence of this person in your mind becomes part of your practice, part of your freedom. Previously, we explored how Buddhist practices help us stop clinging and begin transforming persistent thoughts into mindfulness. Now, let's turn those moments of mental distraction into a doorway to inner peace. When this person comes to mind again, and they will, pause. Take one conscious breath. Feel your feet grounded beneath you. And gently, simply, return to the present moment. With time, you may notice something surprising. The person who once felt like a mental prison becomes a pathway to presence, a gentle reminder to come home to yourself. Fifth practice: loving kindness. Meditation, metta. Among the most powerful tools in the Buddhist tradition for working with obsessive thoughts is metta, or loving kindness meditation. It's a deeply transformative practice that softens the emotional charge we carry toward others, whether that charge is longing, resentment, or confusion. Rather than pushing the thought away, you transform it by surrounding it with compassion. Start with yourself. May I be free from suffering. May I live with ease. May I find peace. Then extend this same sincere wish to the person who's been on your mind. May they be free from suffering. May they find peace. May they live with ease. Finally, expand that loving kindness outward to include all beings. No one is excluded. This simple but powerful shift can dissolve inner tension and transform even the most persistent thoughts into compassion. The stone in the river, a Zen metaphor. There is a timeless Zen metaphor that captures this entire journey with profound beauty. Your mind is like a flowing river, and this person, this thought that keeps returning, is like a stone dropped into it. At first, there's a splash. The water is disturbed. Waves ripple outward. Your mind churns, and the more you fight the disturbance, the more turbulence you create. But if you let the river flow naturally, one of two things happens. Either the stone settles into the riverbed, becoming a quiet part of your inner landscape, or it is carried gently away by the current, no longer sharp, no longer disruptive. The lesson: don't force it. Let your awareness flow. Let the mind be the river, not the dam. As the Buddha taught, nothing is to be clung to as I, me, or mine, not even our thoughts about others. So when someone won't leave your mind, remember, the goal isn't to banish the thought, but to change your relationship with it. Your mind is like the sky, and this person, just a passing cloud. Through mindful awareness, what once felt like torment can become a pathway to peace. By practicing these ancient teachings, you return to your true nature, spacious, free, aware. Thank you for walking this journey with Buddhism Seeds. If this message touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share with someone who might be silently struggling too. And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell us, what has helped you find peace with persistent thoughts? Until next time, may every visitor in your mind bring you closer to wisdom, and may you greet them with compassion, curiosity, and calm.